Oh,
Okay.
look at you. Look smart now. Hi, everybody.
It's all
Welcome
about
back
the
to
cover, right?
yeah, it's all. Welcome back to A Few Short Minutes, the pod. My name is Stacey Short. I just want you to remember that it takes only a few short minutes a day of mindfulness, self-awareness, and insightfulness to physically rewire your brain. And today, you guys, we've got Mary Jean Anderson, and Mary Jean helps women who feel stuck and unhappy in their marriage. She helps them find happiness without their husband's buy-in. And so, Mary, tell people about you. Who are you? What do you do? How did you get there? Let's have all the things.
Okay. Well, I'm Mari Anderson. I've been coaching women for more than 10 years. I came to this because I had been married about 5 years. It was my third marriage, Stacey, and I was looking at a third divorce. What a failure, right? My first marriage lasted 2 years. My second marriage, 9 months. And now in my 50s, after just a few short years, I wanted out. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I couldn't tell anybody. How could I have made such a horrible mistake? And I just wasn't really ready to give up. I wanted to see if I could find a different ending. And so I started doing research and looking around and finding different things. And I must admit that I do skip from things to things. If it doesn't work instantly, I'll try something else. But over time, I developed a path for myself. I took a little from here and I took a little from there because nothing fit me completely. And I got a lot of coaching and I got a lot of therapy and I did a lot of experimentation and I've come up with this program and then when my things turned around for me, other people started asking, God, what's going on for you? And I started coaching, and I can tell you over the last 10 years, I've coached thousands of women who became happy in their homes with their husbands, with the very same guy they were willing to kick to the curb. And I just want other people to learn that too. You really can be happy. You don't have to give up. You don't have to kick him out. You fell in love, and if it was good once, it could be better than ever again.
I think that's so super important because I think in this day and age, we just go, okay, this is irrevocably broken. I have to have him pull his weight, do his part, go to therapy too, go to therapy with me in order to be okay. And you're saying that's not actually the case.
That's not even a tiny bit true. It's not a tiny bit true. I can tell you my happiest success story is I'm married to that guy in the kitchen. And I used to describe him to my friends as like the Easter, the bunny, the statues on Easter Island, like he is the kindest, sweetest, most gentle, generous man I've ever met in my life. I'm the one who's changed. I'm the one who's learned to look at things differently and allow all those things that made me fall in love with him in the first place, allow that to blossom. And he just steps up over and over and over again. I'm living this and it's hard for me to believe. And I see it repeated in all of my clients.
Yeah. So you said yourself, you've been through years of coaching, years of therapy, admittedly had 2 failed marriages, very short-lived, both of them. What's your accountability in those? What do you know now that you didn't know then?
Well, then if you had asked me this 15 years ago, I would have said I just chose the wrong man. Never. I'm a good person. I'm kind. I want to do the right thing. It never occurred to me that I could make some changes in myself without giving myself up. When I got married before, I wanted to be the perfect wife. I wanted to make my husband happy, and I lost who I was. And I became resentful and angry. And the only way I could find myself again was to get rid of him and start all over again. But truly, I'd pick the same kind of guy again, because that's what works for me. I had to recognize that I didn't have to give up me. And in fact, I had to find the real me, the one that made me happy, the one that made my husband fall in love with me. And when I found her again, peace, love, and flowers. It's fabulous.
You said something so interesting to me
Mhm.
because I know this about myself and I say it all the time. I attract the same dude in a different body. And every time, like, y'all, I'm telling you, it's the same dude in a different body every time. And my therapist says that's because where you're comfortable, that's where your trauma is, that's the patterns that need to be broken. But I'm kind of hearing a little bit of opposition from
Mhm.
you in that because you
Mhm.
said that's what works for me. But
Mhm.
honestly, it hasn't worked for me at all. So talk about that because I find that fascinating.
I always liked men who were like a little outside the lines. I liked independent men who didn't treat me like I would break in half. I was single most of my life. I was a single mother, I was a professional. I didn't like those men who would get all over my business and tell me what to do. So I would like men who traveled. I liked men who were independent. When I married my husband, he traveled a lot. He'd be gone for 2, 3 months at a time. Or one time he was gone for 2.5 years in Afghanistan. When I was single, that was really admirable. He didn't get in my business. He didn't tell me what to do. He trusted me. He believed in me. And I blossomed under that care, knowing that he knew I was as capable as I was. But somehow, once that ring was on our fingers, I expected what happens in the fairy tale. Suddenly he would swoop in and he would rescue me in the way that it happens in the fairy tales. And when he did that, when he didn't do that, I was really angry. The
Yeah.
very things that made me fall in love with him were the very things that I complained about.
Fascinating. What do you think switched for you in that? And I love the fairy tale analogy because I believe that wholeheartedly to be true that fairy tales have actually set us up for failure
Oh my
in
God.
relationships because there is no prince charming. There's not a white knight coming. It's you. Nobody's
It
coming to
is.
save you. It's you.
I
And
agree.
yet it's just recently as in Frozen where the sisters saved each other. There was no
Yes.
man that swooped in and
Yes.
saved them. And that was, I'm getting chills, just literally a few years ago. So definitely not my childhood. What do you think
No.
changed when that ring went on? Like what changed inside you
I had
to
a
create those?
story in my head. I got the marriage manual. And in that marriage manual, it said, you've got to make dinner every night. You have to keep the house clean, turn the mattress. You have to do this, you have to do that. And then he's going to do this. He's going to be like, I don't know, sort of a mixture between George Clooney and, be able to tap dance and have that whole set, know the right things to say to me all the time. But in fact, he didn't have a script writer. He's a guy. And And I had to learn that when he would say things to me, I I had to listen differently. I had to listen as if it was coming from a loving man, not someone who's putting me down. I'll give you a quick
Mm.
example. My
Yeah,
husband was
please.
visiting one time, and we went to Target and we saw these adorable little tiny tank tops with red and white stripes. They were so cute, so we bought them. And when my husband came home from work, we came out in our adorable little red and white striped tank tops, and my husband said, "Wow, you look like you belong in a chain gang." Now, a while ago, I would have been furious. What are you talking about? We're too cute. So I just laughed. I took my niece, we went in the back room, and we made tattoos, mom, all over our arms. And we said, all right, now we're into it. I know now that just because he says a thing, I don't have to take offense. It's not personal. When you see someone wearing stripes, for him, his first thought was, oh, are you in prison? He didn't mean I looked like a prisoner. He meant, oh, that's adorable. You look like a prisoner. So it was the way that I
Interesting.
changed it. It's the way that I heard it differently.
Fascinating. And how did you get through that process? Because I think a lot of women, like, I think they're hearing this and they're going, no, fuck that. He really
Not
meant
my
like I look
husband.
like a prisoner.
Not happening. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Truthfully, a lot of faking it till you make it. I had to pretend. I had to let go and move forward. All of that crap that we carry around with us, you have to be willing to experiment, put it down, step over that great big pile of rocks that we carry around with us. And I had to pretend. that my husband loved me, that my husband found me attractive, that my husband found me sexy, that he wanted to be with me. And I operated from that point of view.
Mm.
When I had come to that bad place, let me tell you, there was no backing, there was nothing sexual. There was no touching, there was no kissing. It would be he'd come home from work sometimes, and the only reason I knew he was home from work is I would see that his car was in the driveway. I'd go searching through the house for him. I'd open up his door to his office and I'd start yelling. Why do you think he hid from me? Years later, I'll tell you this story. It might be a little too much information. My
Girlfriend, go
husband
ahead.
came home from work. I hear the door fly open and he calls, Mari, where are you? I said, Clark, I'm in the bathroom. Throws open the bathroom door. I said, Clark, I'm on the toilet. He says, I don't care. I love you so much. I missed you so much. And he started kissing me all over. What a difference in just a short, relatively short period of time, maybe 2 years difference from having to seek him out to not even being able to hide in the bathroom because he couldn't wait to see me.
And what do you think changed that he started hiding from you? Like, why, looking back now, why did that dynamic shift?
Because when he came home, I was ready to unload on him all the things that happened during the day. I wouldn't have come home to me. I
Yeah.
would have found a lot of other things to do. It wasn't fun to come home. He'd come
So
home and
how did you carry that mental load? Because a conversation that I really love to have lately is that mental load of motherhood, or that mental load of being a partner and worrying about flipping the mattresses and cooking dinner and all of those stuff. Because traditionally in
Mm,
heterosexual cis normative, relationships, it is the woman that takes care of that stuff, not necessarily the man.
absolutely.
And so how did you kind of find space in carrying that mental load? Because that is fucking heavy.
It's
It
too
is
heavy for
heavy.
anybody. There's no
Yeah.
perfection out there. So, going back to pretending, I had to pretend to believe, and now I know it's true. He didn't marry me because I kept a clean house. He did not marry me because I turned the mattress. And believe me, he didn't marry me because he thought I'd have dinner on the table every night at 6. He married me because he thought I was a hot, sexy woman and we could have fun together and we could laugh together and we could kiss and we can sit in the corner and we can always tell each other funny stories. That's why my husband married me. And so when I started letting go of those things, and oh my God, it wasn't easy. Stacey, before I'd go on a trip, I'd have to go and clean out all my closets in case I was dead and someone else would have to clean it for me.
Ooh, girl.
I had to let go of those things. I had to let go of telling him how to keep things the way that I knew that a house had to be kept so that I would be a good wife, so that he would love me. Talk
Yeah.
about a backfire. I let it go. You think he
Yeah.
sees if the mattress is turned? I said to him once, could you help me turn the mattress? He said, why? He never even knew it happened. I had to let go of all those details. I had to be willing to let that go. And then eventually we got housekeepers. We have a housekeeper. She does it. He didn't. And I get to be the one who's fun.
Talk about that letting go process, because we hear that a lot. It's almost like a buzzword
It
now,
is.
of like, let go, let go, let go. Okay, well, how? How the
Right.
fuck do I let
There's
go?
two levels.
Because dishes still need to be done, mattresses still need to be flipped, the dogs still have to go to the vet, the kids still have to. I mean, I know kids aren't home anymore, but I still have kids at home.
Yeah.
The kids still have their things. How can I let go? Because to me, Stacey, back then, let go would have meant dropping balls. And
So
and
we can talk about that. What if you let go of the dishes in the sink? What do you think would happen?
well, then they'll pile up and then I'll stand there longer, and that
And then,
sucks.
and then what would happen?
Then I'd probably be resentful that nobody else did it,
And
which is
and then what
people
would
pleasing,
happen?
Stacey. Yeah,
So
then I'd get angry, and then I'd start, I do everything around here, which is exactly what used to happen with me.
there's an
So yeah.
alternative. There's an alternative. Oh, Stacey, I'm beat. I can't wash the dishes. I would love it if somehow those dishes could be washed. Don't tell him how. Don't tell him when. I can't wash another dish today, and I would love that sink to be empty.
Interesting.
And
Fascinating.
you have to be willing to let it go. When
Yeah,
my
of the how
when
and
I
the
would
when.
when my husband would do the dishes, there would be a ring of water 3 feet around him. I don't know how that happened. And so I would tell him how to do it. I would
Same for my
explain how to
dad.
stay dry. So we stopped doing it.
Interesting.
When I
Yeah.
let go of it, and it took a while because he is not a clean man. He's very, very messy. I started by saying, "Oh my God, I love it when that sink is clean. When I see that clean sink, my heart goes pitter patter, and I love you all over again." To say those things feels like being a freak. But this is the fake it till you make it. The truth is, my husband knew how to fix it. He knew how to wash the dishes, not when I said or how I said, but he was perfectly capable of figuring out how to get the dirt off the dish and how to get that dish in the cabinet. He figured it out all by himself. At
Mhm.
55 years old, that man figured out how to get the dishes clean. I'm not even allowed to load the dishwasher because I don't do it right.
I pray for that day. I
It
pray for that
can,
day.
but you have to let go of when, because it doesn't happen at night. It happens in the morning. He gets
Yeah,
up before me, he makes
yeah, I
coffee, and I don't come downstairs until I hear the dishwasher running.
I love that so much. Of
Yeah.
like, nope, not yet.
Not
Not
yet,
yet.
not yet. I'm gonna do some sit-ups, whatever. You have to be willing to take a chance. Our husbands, we don't marry stupid men. And the children,
Yeah.
you can let them. You can say, I can't. Could you? I'd love it if you would do this.
Yeah.
And maybe they wouldn't do it right. Maybe the kid wouldn't get to school exactly on time or go to bed exactly when he's supposed to. But it took us a long time to learn too.
Sure.
But figure
Sure
it
it
out.
did.
We're smart.
Sure it did. I tell this story all the time to friends and clients, that my breaking point with dishes was at 14, where my mom would say, do the dishes. And I'd be like, all right, fine. And I would load the dishwasher. And then she would tell me it was done incorrectly, unload it and reload it. And I
Make
was
you
like,
not ever want to touch them, right?
hold up, lady. If I did it incorrectly and you were just going to do it anyway, why didn't you do it to begin with? And so I was like, I didn't touch another dish until probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when, my marriage split up and I had to now. And
Yeah.
so, and I still hate them. I still hate them to this day, but I know why. I know
Yeah.
why. They still have to
Yeah.
get done. And so I have a choice there. I could either put on some music and do them and act like
Yes.
an idiot, dance around the kitchen and whatever. Or I could rail against it, ridicule myself, throw a fit, be angry that they have to be done, and make it a miserable process, even though every day they have to be done, or every other
Absolutely
day,
true.
whatever. And
Yeah.
and and that's my choice there. And I don't feel like a lot of us are empowered to know that that is even a choice, let alone make it a choice.
Lots of choices. And that thing that your mother did to you is what we do to our husbands.
Yes, that's exactly when you were like,
Yeah.
don't tell him how, don't tell him when, don't. I was like, hold up, wait a minute.
Yeah. Sounds
That's
familiar.
exactly. And my mom still, oh God, my poor dad, because she still does it to him to this day.
Hmm.
And they've been married 40, 45 years, somewhere, wait, 44 years, somewhere around there.
Long time.
Um, so when you said the 3 foot ring of water, totally my dad. Totally my dad. And my mom absolutely cannot handle it. It's her perfectionistic pattern. And I was home in July with them and she was spouting off about something. And I just looked at her and I was like, Mom, who cares? Who cares? You have two options here. You can yell at him about it until he submits, or you can go fucking wipe it up. Like, I don't, stop yelling, man.
Mm.
Just cut it out. And it's fascinating because now on my how my healing is twisted me in a good way. You got, well,
Mhm. Mhm.
for the most part, twisted
We're
me for the
assuming it's a
most part.
good way.
Yeah, we're gonna assume it's a good way. It's amazing that I look back on Stacey 10 years ago and go, Jesus, I was just Angie repeating that program over and over again because that's what wives do.
That's what
And
wives do. It comes in the marriage manual, right? It's written right in here.
right in here, right next to the how to raise kids manual, it's right
Ah,
there.
yes. Yes.
That's fascinating. So talk about now that you faked it until you made it. One day you kind of woke up and you weren't faking it anymore. Do you remember that time period or that
That day.
day or
Well, there were little things that started happening, and you know what? Even now, there's still things that are happening. Every day. If I Let me give you an example. I'm very good at examples.
I
I'm
love
having
it.
trouble with my
It's
knee.
so real world stuff, so it's
Yeah.
perfect.
My
Please.
husband walks so fast, it drives me crazy. He just is a very, very fast walker. He wants to get where he's going. He starts here, he goes there, and that's what he does. But in spite of that, we still hike together. And it drives me nuts. We go out on a date, we go out to dinner wearing heels. He still has to get there right away. And we never walk through the doors at the same time. And for 18 years, I've been saying, could you just slow down? You walk too fast. Could you just slow
Yeah, that
down?
would be
Slow down.
disrespectful to
Don't you
me.
even care about me? I'm not even wearing heels anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
So the other day we were hiking. My knee was bothering me. And of course, I'm hiking and he's like way up there. And I said, oh, Clark, my knee really hurts. I can't keep up. Now it was about me, not how bad he was. He stopped. He turned around, he came down, he said, oh, I'm so sorry. And that the rest of the hike was together. So I'm still finding ways that I sabotage the relationship by blaming him. But the truth is, if I make it from me, I can't do another dish. My knee hurts. I can't walk any faster. I can't possibly stay with your mother this weekend. I can't. He's respectful of that. He knows I'm human. And it's no problem. But I have to be willing to say it and mean it.
I love that because it is pseudo boundary setting, right? Because you're not giving a consequence. Like, if you continue to walk fast, then I will no longer hike with you. Like, that's a boundary, but you're not saying that. You're saying,
Mm-mm.
I would love to continue to hike
I
with you, but
can't.
sometimes you have to go at my pace because I can't.
No.
And I think women, and I will die on this hill. I think when women entered the workforce, years ago in the late 60s, early 70s, and we were told that we could have it all, do it all, and be it all. I think that that is one of the most demoralizing, demotivating things that ever happened to us, is because
Mhm.
men aren't told that. Again, you guys, I know I'm talking cis heteronormative. Please forgive me. I'm not trying to leave anybody out, but this is my experience. So this is where I'm speaking from today. Usually I try to be inclusive, but here we are. And so I think that men are never told that. They aren't told to have it all, do it all, and be it all.
Mhm.
They're told to be caretakers, winners. Well, that's not have it all. That's also not do it all or be it all. They're taught, go home, make the money, come back, protect the family. Not flip the mattresses, take the dogs to the vet, make sure the kids get their shots. Like, there's none of that, but we were, because we're nurturers and we have these children and we raise these children. Even though we have a partner, most of us, most of the time we're supposed to, right? We're supposed to have a partner.
Supposed to.
And yeah, supposed to, right? And I think that I will die on that hill. I think the have it all, do it all, be it all has really hamstringed us.
Absolutely, I agree with you. But I don't know if you're old enough to remember that commercial, the ingenue commercial. I can bring home the bacon, fry
I
it up in a
fried in a
pan,
pan. Yeah, I am old
never
enough for
let you
that. Thank you.
forget you're a man. No,
Yeah.
no, I don't have to do it all. It's a partnership, which means I don't have to do it all. I do my part. The key for me is not to tell my husband what to do. Not, you have to slow down, you have to do this. My part is to say what I can do. And I can trust my husband to make his own decision. I know at base he wants me to be happy, because when he's happy, I'm happy. And when I'm happy, life's good.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
wants that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love how you said, I'm not here to tell him what he has to do. I'm just telling him how I feel, how what
Yes.
I need, how I can operate. And
Yes.
I think and I know this to be true for my marriage, not that I'm talking shit about my ex-husband. I absolutely am not. He did the best he can with what he has to work with, but I also know, because still to this day he does this, he weaponizes incompetence. And so, what do you know about that? How could people
Well, give
circumvent
me an
that? Because
example.
I see it a lot.
Give me an example.
Give you an example. Oh, perfect example. So a couple weeks ago, he got an EOB from my son's doctor, and it had a charge on it. And he was like, my son needs to call, because he's 18 now. He goes, he needs to call the doctor and get this taken care of. And I said, your name's on it. Just call them and tell him he's double covered. Like, why are you sending
So
this
if
to
I had
me?
a buzzer, I would go, because now you're
Yeah.
telling them what to do.
Right.
The answer is, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it. I get it, because what ended up happening is I was like, why are you sending this to me? And he's like, well, he needs to do this. And I'm like, okay. And he was like, well, tell him, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I absolutely could. Where are you in this? He needs both of us. It's not just me about teaching him. It's about you being around too and teaching him. And so I don't, of course it
So
still ended up in my
Stacey,
lap.
take a second. Take a second and flip that sentence. Only using I, no you. How can you tell me
Yeah.
only using I, not telling him what to
Yeah.
do?
So modeling you, oh, I don't have the time or the
That's one thing
bandwidth
you
to
can
teach
do.
him.
Okay. You can also say, I need help. I can't do it all myself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But when we add on what his job is supposed to do, it changes things. I don't know about you, but I hate when people tell me what to do.
That's fair. That's fair.
Our husbands too, or ex-husbands, or whatever we want to call those people that
Yeah,
have broken
whomever,
our hearts over and over again. Yeah,
including ourselves, right?
including
Including
ourselves,
ourselves.
including ourselves for sure.
So do you think we create the opportunity to weaponize incompetence, or is that a pushback from maybe their childhood of where their mother did it all, had it all, be it all, or tried to? What do you think
It
that
doesn't.
is?
I think it doesn't matter how they were brought up. I think
Okay.
that we react, how we react, we allow someone to weaponize against us. If it was some stranger and they came in and they said, "You shouldn't have long hair," it would be like, what do you care? But if someone you love came in and said that, you'd be devastated.
That's so
The
true.
same words. You don't have to absorb it.
Yeah, that's so true. That's a great example. That's a great example. Um,
And we can protect ourselves against those slings and arrows. And it's what you talk about all the time, finding our happy place and building ourselves. We don't know what that is. And we have to depend on the next generation to raise their daughters to know that they don't have to do it all.
yeah.
We used to be chattel. We were traded like cattle. And those days are over, unless we let them still be there. How many women are with their men because of the money?
Yeah. Or worse, the kids, and that creates absolutely unhealthy
All
environments
around.
for the next
Yeah.
generation. It's just
We
you're
have
just
power over that. We have
yeah.
the one thing in the world that I have power over is me and my reaction to things. It's the only thing that I have power over. So I'm going to use that power.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
And it's
Um,
habit. It's just habit.
It is habit. And I think that a lot of people don't understand how deeply rooted that habit is,
Yes.
because you grew up watching this habit when your brain was nothing but a mushy meatball
Ah,
and didn't
any of the
have the
shows. Yeah.
wherewithal to go, that's not healthy. But in that 0 to 7 stage, and it was set. So if you watched your mom be an overpowering bulldozer of a person because she didn't feel safe, so she lashed out, which is very much my experience with my mother, then that's exactly what you're going to do.
It's familiar. It's
It is
familiar.
familiar.
But you know what? If we're old enough to think that, we're certainly old enough to change that.
Yeah, and I find it interesting that, like, people go, "Oh, I don't want to be like my mother," but they don't have anything to replace it because they haven't done the work to
Yes.
figure out what to replace it with. And
Yes.
so, talk about your coaching program and people, working with you. What does that look like? Because they know they don't want this, but they also don't know what that is
Yeah.
either.
Uh, the thing that I've learned is no matter where we are in life, our social status, our economic status, our religion, our color, our background, our country, we all come together in so many of the same places. We want to be loved. We want to be respected. We want to be admired. We want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. That's about us. That's about how we see it.
Yeah.
So when I work with my clients, the first thing we do is we look at where's their joy? What's good about it? And listen, I know when I was in the middle of it, there was nothing. There was
Yeah, for
nothing.
sure.
I remember one time my coach said to me, "Well, what are you grateful for?" And I thought, "Don't you understand?
Very
Nothing.
much so. Yeah.
Nothing. I don't have anything of my own anymore." And I had to really look at that. I had to really look at that and really scrape the bottom of the barrel. I mean, I remember saying to her, "Oh, what, I'm supposed to be happy that like he's breathing?"
Hmm.
I was very resentful. But I had to learn. I had to learn to
Yeah.
find the things that he does bring to the table. Maybe not the things that I want at my table, but he does bring things. And when I was able to start recognizing what was good, I would tell him, "Oh my God, when I come downstairs and I find that garbage empty, my life starts out all new again." And I mean, in the olden days, no, you take the garbage out before you go to bed. What are you, crazy? But I don't, and no one's died. And he does what he does. He makes me happy. I'm happy, and it works. So for me, the first thing that I do with my clients is I figure out what does make them happy. And sometimes you just get so lost you don't remember anymore. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
gotta,
That definitely was me.
yeah,
I
all
didn't
of
know
us.
who I was outside of wife, mother, friend, employee, daughter, sister. I had no
Stuffed,
clue who
unhappy,
Stacey
miserable
was.
person. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we work on that. We find out what does make us happy. And then we find out how to find that in our life. And then we can look a little further and we can see what good stuff's coming in. We learn how to start accepting what people want to give to us. How many times do people offer to do something? Say, "No, no, I can do it." Why? Why? How
Because
many
if it
times?
doesn't get done the right way, I'm gonna have to do it again anyway, so I might as
That's
well
right.
do it.
Might
That's
as well.
definitely
Might
my
as well do
mother.
it right. But you know what?
Gotta
How
do
is
it
someone
anyway.
going to learn? I mean, when your child learned to walk, you come on, stand up, come on, take one. Oh, you're such a good boy. That's how you learn. That's how
Yeah,
you
for
learn.
sure.
And so little by little by little, I was able to build that trust that he would step up. And each time he did, I would be happy and I would see that that was an advantage. And I stopped looking at that. Oh man, I could list pages and pages and pages of all the things that were wrong. And every time something happened, it wasn't that one thing. I'd go back to the whole big long list of everything that was wrong. I would reinforce how miserable I was, and I would reinforce what an awful man my husband was. But when I started looking at the other side, even if it was one thing or two things, and even if you despise the man you used to be with. You can still find some things that are good about him. And you can read that list. And then you can learn that the things that he says, it's not an attack. I'll give you another example.
Yeah, please. I love it.
So I had this kitchen, and there's always that top shelf that you can't reach. And in that top shelf goes whatever you use once a year, right?
Right.
So I was getting ready for a big dinner with a bunch of people coming over. And I asked my husband to go up and get down this one thing. So he opens up the cabinets and he said, wow, there's a lot of shit in here. And the old me, or even that me, wanted to say, what are you talking about? Look at my cabinets. They're perfect. They're glass fronted and everything's lined up. What are you, crazy? But then I thought about it and I said, you're right. There's a lot of shit up there. And it was okay. He was telling me the truth. He wasn't saying I'm shit. He just said there's shit up there. And
I think that goes back again to not only childhood, obviously, but the have it all, do it all, be it all, because you've tried so hard to get those cabinets looking great. And so when somebody goes, man, that's shit. You're like, but I worked so hard. I
never worked on the ones up there. I never worked on those. He was right. They were shitty. You come home and the house is a wreck and your husband says, oh my God, this place is a mess. You can say, I know. It really is. I hate it. I don't know what to do. And then you're on the same side of the desk.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, well, if you helped me out a little bit here, I can't do it all on my own.
Exactly.
If you just go, you're right, man. I am in over my head.
It's awful. Let's move.
And I hate it too. Yeah. Burn it down.
Yeah.
Burn it all down. I've
Now,
definitely have had those
you have a
feelings.
partner, not an enemy.
At what point do women really start considering to leave?
It's different for everybody. I know women, as they were getting married, knew it wasn't going to work because maybe he got drunk the night before, or maybe he didn't wear the shoes she said. How can you marry someone who's wearing those shoes on their wedding day? Truly. It just depends. Everybody's a little different. We all have different tolerances. We come with these stories, we come with these burdens. And, you said something before, each time you start a relationship, it's the same sort of man in a different body. But what's different is you're bringing all that baggage with you. So each successive time, it's a bigger and bigger pile that you're dragging behind you. And so it's like having anaphylactic shock. The moment we see that, I'm out of here. I'm not doing it. No, not happening. Not doing that again. So when do they decide? Everybody's different. I know women that are married 40 years before they go for help.
Yeah.
I had a client recently. She was married 45 years. They had like 6 kids. She homeschooled them. She was one of those. She farmed. She did everything. And he worked, I don't remember what his job was, but he was the one, he did that. She did everything else. And
oh my God, I'm exhausted just hearing that.
Me too, just hearing it. And she decided there was no romance. It was disgusting. Everything was awful. She started employing some of these techniques. She called me up one day. She said, Mari, my husband dragged me into the pantry and started kissing me.
Awesome.
And then later on, she called me up. This was a man who never, well, the fact that he was kissing her and they were having sex again was already a miracle, but he never was generous with her. For example, she had chickens and she needed a new chicken coop. And he used the old satellite dish for the roof of the chicken coop, which I thought was kind of cool. But she thought it was horrible. She thought he was just being cheap because she'd seen one that she wanted at Sears. Anyway, it was her birthday and he drew her a birthday card with pictures of 2 little stick figures lying on the beach, and included in the envelope were tickets to Hawaii for a honeymoon that they'd never had.
Wow.
So things change even after all those years and all those children. And it spreads like ripples on a pond. Now the children were happy to come home because the parents weren't fighting. And the grandkids would come around because it wasn't so nasty in the house anymore. And she could have celebrations because he wasn't so cheap with the money anymore. And her children are learning and her grandchildren are learning, and hopefully, we're all going to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. That is one way that generational curses get broken.
Mm-hmm.
My friends, ooh, I just got chills again. Um, and it isn't easy. None of
Mm-mm.
this is easy,
Not easy.
but you
Simple,
also
not easy.
not easy. No, not at all. But you've got to make your decision again.
Yes.
Stay and be miserable. Do this exact thing. Live the same day over and over again for
Yes.
45 years or until one of you breaks or, whatever.
Or, yeah, dies
Or,
because she couldn't leave him because her religion forbade her.
oh gosh, that's a whole
So,
other
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Or try something different and get really uncomfortable. And I think that takes a level of real honesty with yourself
yes,
about what is my role in this unhappy situation? How did
yes,
I help create, foster, and continue this unhappy situation? Because my friends, it is not just him. It just isn't. There are two people in this.
there's two people.
And I know that to be true for my my relationships, that I absolutely contributed to the misery of it
Yeah,
as well.
I
And so
agree.
talk about that level of radical honesty, because it's
Well,
so important.
that's that accountability you were talking about before. But I would invite my clients, all of you out there, to let go of what you did. You get a free pass. You can start right now. As you walk away from the video, you can start changing. Let go of what you did wrong or didn't do wrong, or he did wrong, or someone did wrong. It doesn't matter anymore. It's done. Unless you're Superman, you can't turn back time. Or I guess the Flash can do that now too.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
you can't change it. You put down that bundle of hurt, that bundle of anger, and walk over and experiment with something new. If it doesn't work, you can always go back and pick up that stuff again.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
the decision to step forward on a new platform is absolutely in our hands. Absolutely. I hear a lot of times from my clients that how they want their husbands to understand how much they're suffering. Well, I want him to understand what he's done to me. When a
Yeah,
man
sure.
gets a girlfriend or leaves his wife, I want him to know how much I'm hurting. But what difference does it make?
He may or may not care.
You got to move forward. He may care deeply, but whether or not he understands the depth of your hurt, that's not what your relationship is about. If
Mhm.
you want a happy, free, loving, passionate, exciting relationship, you gotta let go of the crap. You can only hold so much. What do you want to hold?
Yeah, and my friends, where you hold it is in your body.
Yeah, that's for
So
sure.
if you're extra weight, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, depression, anxiety, overwhelm, that tells me that you're holding this weight, this
Mm-hmm.
proverbial weight
Mm-hmm.
in your body. And I know that to be true for myself. It's absolutely true for myself.
All
And
of
it's
us.
amazing that when you release some of that, that some of this stops as well.
I know that that's true.
If you release those expectations of how they should show up, or how they should be your partner, or how they should do the dishes or should take out the trash, like Mari said, like, oh, I can't do one more thing, and then just let them.
It's our superpower to be feminine. That's what attracts them. Remember when you're dating? They'll turn themselves in knots to be able to touch you, to kiss you, to hold you, to have sex with you. Oh my God. Think about the
Yeah.
old fairy tales. Those men used to have to go across the seven seas and bring back a jewel or slay the
Yeah.
dragon. That's how our men are wired. That's how they're wired. They don't mind having jobs to do. They go to work all day long. They don't mind. They stay extra hours. They don't mind. That's how they're wired. Just like we believe a clean house is a good wife, they believe a hardworking man is a good husband.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
can use that. They want to make us happy. We're women. We're powerful. We hold the power in our relationships, believe it or not.
I think that we're so used to being, again, that bulldozer or being completely helpless, right? That there's no middle ground, and we've got to come back to the middle ground of where we
Yeah,
can
we do.
leverage
We
what
do.
works and let
Yes,
go of it all.
we need to take it's like what is it like? It's like a gorgeous singer who won't sing out loud. We are powerful, emotional beings. That emotion is what attracts our men. When that crying, not angry, nagging crying, but that crying, that hurt, that tenderness, that sweetness, that softness that we are because we're women, that's what attracts them. Not the I can do this better than you business.
Yeah.
They don't mostly don't want to be married to another man. That's why they married a woman.
Yeah. And I think that, that masculine energy has a time and place, but it definitely isn't all the time, because then we lose ourselves in what made us strong in the first place.
Yes, we have a lot more going for us, I think. I think women are so much more powerful and so much more capable and so much more adaptable than men. Men bring another thing. They bring strength, they bring a loyalty I don't see women having. Men bring certain skills to the table because they're wired differently.
Yeah,
They're
for
just
sure.
wired differently. And
Yeah. And
they're
yet
not
we're
the
trying to
hairy
make them,
girlfriends.
put them in a box, a
Mhm.
wired box that we feel is the right
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So, um, Mari, this has been amazing. Give one more tip or trick that women can do right now, today, as they watch this video, to flip the script in their
Okay.
relationship.
Right this second, look around and see what there is that's going to give you some joy. Let's start counting joys. I remember the days were so bad. One time I would photograph it. We all have our cell phones, right? We have our cell phones with us all the time. Every day I'd make it my business to photograph at least 3 things that just made me happy. And it could be 2 books leaning against each other, but the colors were so perfect. Or my dog sleeping in some weird position, or just looking out the window and seeing, oh, there's a package and it's for me. You take a picture of the things that bring you joy. You're going to find joy. And once you start counting the joys instead of the miseries, you're going to feel happier.
Oh, I love that. I love that it's so simple as like, my dog's sleeping funny, or the books look amazing, or there's a package out there, or man, my hair, I'm having a good hair day. Like,
Sometimes.
the fact that you even just woke up today,
Yes.
um,
And
which
picture it.
is,
For me, I want to see it. So I take a
yeah,
picture, and you know what? I have thousands and thousands of pictures of joyful moments. And when I forget how to be joyful, I can just look at them and remember.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. It's a play on like gratitude journaling,
Mm-hmm.
right? For those of us that are, it's
Yeah, right.
difficult to
Yeah.
journal, this is
Yeah.
even better. If you're a visual learner, this is better. I love this idea so much. Mari, I thank you so much for this. This has been an amazing conversation,
Oh,
and you guys go check Mari out. All of the links are going to be in the description, of course. Do all of the things, the like, the subscribe, the follow. Y'all know already. It's 2023. You guys know about social media. And go check Mari out, especially if you are a woman who just can't live one more day unhappy. You don't have to. You don't have to. So take a chance on yourself and book a call with her. And let's just see what life could look like if you weren't unhappy all the time. Obviously, she's got the skill set. And not only that, but she's done it herself. So she's got the credibility to back it up. And something tells me that whatever you tell her, she's probably been there and done that before. So there's nothing shocking about your life or how you feel. Mari, again, thank you so much, my friend, for being here. I
it's been
super appreciate you.
my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Stacey. Lots of fun. One of
All
my
right.
joys today.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm going to eat my own hair. No, absolutely is a joy today for sure. So friends, thank you for joining me again for a few short minutes, the pod. Remember, it literally only takes a few short minutes a day of being present, being mindful, being self-aware, finding the little joys, which is what that is, and to rewire your brain to think differently, feel differently, and be differently. And thanks for coming and spending time with us. We love you. Have a great day.